Welcome back. We're here to preview Saturday afternoon's Premier League match between Arsenal and Liverpool at the Emirates. Let's go. Start with the away side into the match of a really poor result against Manchester United last time.
Yeah, it was a massive game, wasn't it, in that top four race? Obviously, if Liverpool had won that game, they go above United, but running out, 2-1 defeat in the end, and just a lot of things in the game were so disappointing. Losing that 13-game unbeaten run in the league, Steven Gerrard coming on at half-time, getting sent off within a minute or whatever it was. It was just a poor result in the end. You have to credit United; they did play quite well in that. Juan Mata obviously stood out, arguably his best performance in a United shirt. First goal, decent goal, and then the second one, just a standout goal. If that hadn't gone in, Liverpool might have felt they had a chance, because after that second one, when they actually played quite well, obviously half the deficit, got back in the game, but they couldn't quite, pull it back. And I think United, did run out deserved winners in that one. But you look back at Liverpool's recent form; it has been really good for them. Obviously one defeat in 14 now, and in the league that is, and they've been doing so well. But that game, it was billed as a massive game. They didn't quite turn up, which would have been so disappointing, because, like I said, they had been really good of late.
Yeah, I think the most disappointing thing, the last time they lost before that unbeaten one was against Manchester United as well, wasn't it? Old Trafford. So obviously they've lost both games to them this season, and I think a lot of people were saying they could probably finish second like they did last season, because they were the team in form along with Arsenal, who they play here. But it's left them 5 points off fourth now, and they're only a point above Southampton and Tottenham. So the race for the top 7 is so close. So they get beat here, and Spurs and Southampton both win. They can find themselves in 7th, and then Liverpool still got a couple of tough games, and it could quite easily go sort of wrong, can't it, from where obviously they were in such good form. But I think the fact that they lost at home to Manchester United, a lot of people predicted them to win that quite comfortably, wasn't it? Obviously the way it happened with Gerrard getting sent off, etc., and at the end with Skirtle and stuff like that is bad. But I think it was a really good performance from United. I think they deserved it in that game, and Liverpool have to get back to winning ways, but obviously it's difficult to go to Arsenal, who are in great form themselves.
Definitely, and especially they've got so many players on the verge of maybe being injured for this one. Sturridge, Sterling, Lallana, they all pulled out of the England squad. Sterling, I think his one was more of a rest. It was the sort of thing last year about him being tired, and I think Hodgson sort of giving him a rest that Italy game, but Lallana pulled out injured, Sturridge pulled out injured, and if neither of those two are available for this one, that's a blow. Obviously Gerrard suspended and Skirtle as well, because he got that sort of retrospective 3-match ban as well. Gerrard, I'm not sure he'll be missed as much, because recently he hasn't been starting many games at all, as he's sort of become a bench player in the last sort of month or so. But so him being out won't be the biggest blow, but I think Skirtle will be. They've kept a lot of clean sheets recently, and him not being there when he comes up and player like Giroud, who's in really good form, I think they could struggle in this one, because they've got a lot of problems.
So what do you think of the Gerrard thing? He's letting the team down there, isn't he? In the last game he let his team down.
Definitely. I don't know what he's... a player of his experience, you wonder what was just going through his head. He came out and afterwards and apologised, but the fans probably say, it's good that he apologised and all that, but you can't forgive what he did, really. Coming on at half time, I know it's a big game, but the amount of Manchester United Liverpool games that he's played in, and the amount of times he's played well in them as well, he scored so many goals in that rivalry, and he comes on and does that. It's just so stupid. Especially as it was his last game against United as well, so he's leaving Liverpool at the end of the season. Just a really bad way to go out, and for a player of his experience and class, you just would have expected so much more from him.
Yeah, it was poor from him. Moving on to Arsenal, obviously they're in wonderful form themselves. Last time out against Newcastle, 2-1, they went 2-0 up. Newcastle not in great form themselves, but in fairness, they played well in the second half, didn't they? Got the goal back and had some really good chances late on. But I think Arsenal, the fact that they held on is obviously massive. They won 9 of the last 10 in the league, and they haven't come from nowhere, but none really has talked about them as sort of finishing top of the league. Second, it's always Arsenal going to finish fourth like they always seem to do, but they're pushing up. They're only a point behind City now, and if they win this game, they do go above, with City not playing until the Monday night. So form at home this season, won the last 8 at home in the league, and you always fancy Arsenal at home, don't you? It doesn't matter who they're playing. They lost to United earlier in the season, but that's the only game they've lost at home this season. So great form, keeping clean sheets. I think 4 of the last 5 at home they've kept clean sheets. So they can keep a clean sheet here. They'll fancy themselves to obviously get a goal down the other end.
Definitely. You mentioned they always tend to do quite well at home. The performances aren't always quite there, but they often dig out results, don't they? And I think this one against, like I said, a weakened Liverpool side, they should be quite confident. Obviously the form you talked about there, they are in fantastic form. You look at the league table, they'll definitely want to finish second, considering, like you said, a point behind City. They're 7 behind Chelsea, but Chelsea, they've still got a game in hand as well. And I think if you finish second behind this Chelsea team, that's a pretty good achievement for Arsenal, because Chelsea, the way they started the season, the astute signings they made, the Fabregas, Costa, the defensive strength they've got, obviously Courtois in goal as well. I think if any team that finishes second behind Chelsea, it's a pretty good achievement. And at the moment, you would say Arsenal are the favourites to finish second there. And in terms of the top 4 race, they've now pulled 6 points clear of Liverpool in that 5th spot, obviously with them losing to United last weekend. So they look pretty safe for yet another top 4 finish. They've done it, 15 years in a row or something like that. So they are doing really well. And you mentioned Giroud briefly earlier, but he's been fantastic recently. 9 goals in his last 9 games for Arsenal, scored during the international break for France as well, and he's just been really good recently. He offers you something different. He's so good with his back to goal, linking up with players, and when you've got the players with passing quality, you've got Cazorlas, your Sanchez's, and all those sort of players who they link up so well together, and you feel that I mean, you say it a lot of times with Arsenal that once they've got another season to work, it might be really good next season. But if they can keep this core of the team, I think they could be a real threat next season because they just look so good at the moment.
Yeah, so you mentioned when they're on the table, I mean, they play Burnley next after this and then they play Chelsea at home. So I don't think they will win the league, but if they can beat them, Chelsea drop points and then beat Chelsea, you never know. So it's obviously going to be important. They've got a good record against Liverpool. That was your score prediction for this one.
Yeah, I think I've got to back Arsenal here. I think what I said about Liverpool, all their injury problems, and that would have been a huge blow to lose to United in the last game. In fact, the international break probably came at a good time because it gave them 2 weeks to recover from that, but obviously a lot of players been away with their countries. But I think I have to back Arsenal here because they're in such good form at the moment. We'll go for a 3-1 win to them.
No, I agree. You looking at Liverpool though, they've kept 6 clean sheets on the road. It's been very impressive, but they've only won one of the last 18 in all competitions at Arsenal. So you're looking at that and you're thinking under strength, it's going to be tough. I'm actually going to go 2 goals. Well, I think Arsenal win 2-0. I can't see Liverpool scoring. So both can see Arsenal winning fairly comfortably in this one. Thanks for joining us.